Pentagon says it shot down an armed Turkish drone that was flying close to U.S. troops in northern Syria on Thursday. It is the first time the U.S. has taken down an aircraft belonging to NATO ally Turkey. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Kube joins us for more on this. Hey, Courtney, good morning. So walk us through how this whole incident unfolded according to the Pentagon.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty remarkable event when you consider the fact that it is, as far as we know, and defense officials know, it's unprecedented. So it started about 7:30 yesterday morning local time over Syria when a couple of armed Turkish drones started carrying out some airstrikes. They were dropping bombs as close as about a kilometer away from where U.S. troops are operating in northeastern Syria. So it's an area near Hasaka, Syria. Well, it was so close to the U.S. troops at the time that they had to go in bunkers and to take protection. Well, of course, the U.S. military started reaching out to the Turkish government, the Turkish military, telling them exactly where their troops were and saying, hey, you need to stop these airstrikes, whatever's going on. Well, they stopped. The two drones flew away. Fast forward about 4 hours when another armed Turkish drone started flying again very close to where U.S. troops were. There were upwards of about a dozen phone calls and communications back and forth between the U.S. and the Turkish government to tell them where the U.S. troops were, and they warned them that if this drone did not back away from the U.S. troops, they would take action. And in fact, they did that. They scrambled a couple of F-16 fighter jets, and they shot down that Turkish drone. No U.S. troops were injured or killed in the incident. But again, really unusual, as far as we know, unprecedented event here.
What has the reaction from Turkey been like?
So both Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General C.Q. Brown, spoke with their Turkish counterparts. We got readouts from both sides. Both sides claimed that the conversations were productive and that they were really just focused on counter-ISIS operations there in northern Syria. But we haven't got a sense that the Turks agreed not to do something like this again in the near future. Of course, Turkey is carrying out these operations in northern Syria and northern Iraq right now to go after these PKK fighters, the Kurdistan Workers' Party fighters who have claimed an attack in Ankara last weekend. So it's really not clear if these sorts of events may even continue going forward. We don't have an assurance from the Pentagon that the Turks agreed that they would stop doing this.
So, Courtney, you mentioned that attack last weekend. We know Turkey has been intensifying its strikes on Kurdish militants in northern Syria since that, as you just laid out. But some of those groups that Turkey considers terrorists, the U.S. considers allies. So help us to understand better how that is and how that could be a source of tension between both countries.
Yeah, it's a really complicated situation. So there's the PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, that the U.S. actually recognizes as a terrorist group as well as Turkey. But there are sort of these other groups that have Kurdish fighters in them, like the Syrian Democratic Forces, who are a strong partner to the U.S. and have been for years in northern Syria. Turkey considers elements of the Syrian Democratic Forces to also be aligned with the PKK. The U.S. disagrees. In fact, defense officials who I spoke with say that it's pretty clear that these Turkish airstrikes were going after elements of the PKK that may have included elements of the SDF, who, again, the U.S. is partnering day to day in Syria to go after ISIS fighters there.
So complicated. Courtney, thank you for helping us understand. Thanks for reporting here.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.